Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Women Crushing It Wednesday. I hope everybody's having a fabulous day. I'm here with my girl, Nika. Nika, what's
Hello.
going on, girl? You doing
Hey, hey,
okay?
hey. Yes. It's Wednesday. Almost,
Yes,
well, I already have 3-day weekends, but this is a holiday 3-day weekend. So,
yes,
um,
yes. It is 4th of July, right? Is that what it is?
yes.
Is that why?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
I know you've been so out of whack because you've been traveling back and forth.
girl! It's like sometimes I don't know what day it is, what time it is. It's freaking crazy. So, do you have plans for 4th of July?
Not as of yet. I'll probably be working. So,
Okay, okay.
making money.
So before we get into all the fights that were last weekend and the upcoming fights, you had a boxing versus.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about it. Tell everybody
Yes.
what was going on with that.
So it was fun. I had it on Sunday, and it was against Corey, also known as Mr. I'm on that bullshit again. I feel like we were like we didn't really debate that much because he was kind of agreeing with everything that I was saying because I was pulling out receipts. So his best bet was to
You
just
always
agree with
do.
what I was saying. So but today I seen him, because at like towards the end of the show I had people come up and kind of like go back and forth with him. So I had
Uh-huh.
Lady Chan up there, and they went back and forth with each other. And today he made a video on YouTube, like ranting, like cussing her out, like really bad. Like it's
Oh, really? I missed
yes,
that. I missed
yes,
that.
yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna send you the link, but it's on his
So
page.
what
He
was
was
he
going.
mad about? Like what was
He
the
was saying
problem?
that she was saying like she didn't have no right to say who is he. He's known in these streets and in the boxing world, and then he was just going in and on her about other things about like I don't even want to repeat the stuff that you said because I don't
Okay,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah.
but but he was like, I guess I got a debate again. I don't know, but he was very, 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 very upset, and he was saying that he's not gonna take it easy on the women anymore because we're always emotional and crying. As he's making an emotional and ranting video himself, he's talking about how emotional women are. So I'm gonna send you the link. I know
Well,
when
well,
Lady
you
Chan
know,
sees it, she's gonna go off. She's got to go off.
well, the thing is that we have to work extra hard, here in
Yeah.
this boxing industry as women. So it's okay. Like I mean, I know him. I respect him. I have love for him. I wish him congratulations, his new baby and everything. And I remember meeting him when he first started. In media. But we've had to work so hard to get in this sport, so no, don't take it easy. It's okay. I mean, because we're not going to take it easy.
Yeah.
It's
He's saying
it's not
that
going to
we
happen.
that us women get like in our feelings when we're talking about boxing, and then the men get too you know too disrespectful with us. But like I know for myself that I don't use that as an excuse because I'm gonna cuss you out
Right.
probably worse than what you think you're doing to me. So, you know,
Right.
I know when Lady Chan sees that video, she's definitely gonna
Okay. Well, I'm
have
looking
something.
forward to seeing it. I thought it was very successful. You had a lot of viewers.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
you got a lot of subscribers. Of new subscribers. So I thought it was good. I watched it. I thought it was great. I really did.
Thanks.
Um, Hello, Lee. Lee saying hello. So
Hey.
boxing podcast. Hello. Ariane, we're not talking about this yet, but he said Savannah is gonna whoop your lady, Nika. Clarissa will be doing the stanky leg. I think he meant to say stanky leg. He said Stanley
You
leg.
can't if you can't even spell it
Dance
right
in
then.
September.
What are you even saying, my guy? You can't even spell it
so
right.
So boxing podcast said Savannah Marshall will not be Clarissa. Yeah, I feel the same. Lee, I'm so glad that you're joining us because I had seen a question, and we're going to talk about it later, that you had posted on Twitter, and I definitely want to talk about that question and answer it, and have some of our listeners answer it as well. And maybe I had some technical problems again, so maybe Nika can send you the link if you want to jump on, and talk about
Oh,
it at that
okay.
time. But yeah, because he had a great question. for everybody.
Let
But
me get the link
last
from my.
weekend, thank you.
I'm gonna get the link from the
Is
text
it
message. Hold on.
Nika? Yes, I meant Stanky.
Okay.
Last weekend we saw Bam do a freaking amazing performance. Like he was performing surgery. Anybody that knows boxing, anybody that loves boxing, that was just something that we don't see too often. And I knew he was great and I knew he was wonderful, but I was so impressed. I was kind of worried because whenever he won the title, he did take some shots, and I was hoping that against this opponent, he wasn't going to take as many shots because, I mean, we don't like to see that from our champs, but he didn't. He looked totally different. He looked good before, and he looked amazing. He looked so amazing that
Yeah.
defending his title. What did you think about his performance?
Oh, he looked great. He really did. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more of like I don't want to say competitive because it was competitive, but what am
Right,
I looking for? I think I was expecting more from his opponents.
right.
He just looked good. Like I don't have anything bad to say about it at
No,
all. So
nothing at all. No, nothing at all. Like, and I thought that he even looked better. Like
yeah,
I was saying, his performance whenever he won the title, he looked amazing, but he took a few shots that I was just like cringing about. But this time, I mean, he looked like a whole new person. He looked himself times 10.
I
He
saw a
looked
lot of
so good.
people like saying before the fight that they hope that he doesn't get knocked out. Like uh,
Mm-mm.
what's this guy's name? I forgot his name. But so they
Yeah,
they were
put him out
expecting
there.
um they were expecting exactly what like a little bit more than like I was. So everybody I saw a lot of people shocked that he looked so good. But
Yeah, that's. I mean, I knew he was going to win. I mean, he's been talented since the amateur, since he was a kid, and he's only getting better. He's getting better and better. And I have so much respect for the family. Whenever he say, his brother, Josh Franco is at 115. He's like, I'm not going to fight my brother. I'm going to go back to 112. What did you think about that? Like, I mean, is it should brothers fight each other or should
no,
they do exactly what he did?
no, I don't think brothers should fight each other. That's just me. I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
I,
Me neither.
we're not gonna get the competitiveness like if brothers are fighting each other. Like when I used to beat
No.
my sister's ass, back in the day, it was like because she used to piss me off, But now that we're older, like I wouldn't put my hands on her like that, or like even if I was paid
Right.
to, like I wouldn't like try to knock her out. Like so, yeah,
Right.
I don't think.
Well, inspiring and helping each other prepare for fights, I mean, that's different,
Yeah,
because you want your brother to be the best and whatever platform he's going to be on. But when it comes down to this, it's like, no, I mean,
no.
there are things more important than, defending the title or keeping the title. Um, yes, Abraham Gonzalez said there are some good fights for Bam at 112 and at 115. Yes.
He he
Um,
he, he resigned with Eddie Hearn. Like, didn't he sign an extension?
yes, yeah,
Like the day
I
after.
saw that
Eddie didn't waste no time.
yeah, I saw he signed. No, he's like, oh, let me get this guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I saw that he signed a multi-fight deal again with them, and good for him. I mean,
Eddie didn't
Eddie
waste
right
any
now has
time.
the biggest platform. I mean, he really does if you think about it.
So I put
But
the link in the chat, Lee.
yes, Lee, you jump on whenever you want to. But so at 112, there's Nakatani, Sonny Edwards, El Rey, Julio Cesar Martinez. He's with the Canelo camp, and there's one more I can't remember. Something I forget his name. He has a hard name, but at 115, I mean his brother's there, so I think
Yeah.
he's done. I think he pretty much made that clear.
I see
And
Sonny
he'll
Edwards trying
vacate.
to. I see Sonny Edwards trying to throw his name in the mix. to fight him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but
I mean, why not?
I don't know if he's allowed to fly over here right now. I don't know. There's so many people
Yeah.
on this no fly list because look at this guy, the Paul brother. He can't get he supposedly he was unable to get on his flight to come for his not Tommy Fury. That's the brother,
Okay,
right?
yeah, Tom, yeah, Tommy
he
Fury, yes.
he was unable to get on his flight to come here for the press conference that he has scheduled with Jake Paul. So I don't know, like all these people that I feel that used to be signed to MTK and Pro Bellum and stuff like that.
Right.
If you're out of the country, I don't know if you're able to fly
Yeah.
to the U.S.
I feel
So
bad they're sitting there. You know, they're sitting there waiting, you know, and it's like what's gonna happen with them? You know, it's
yeah,
very sad. Lee said, could you send it to his Twitter messenger?
okay,
Um, it's very sad because they're very talented. They worked hard. They had faith, you know, in these other promoters, and then nothing. And then they can't even fly here.
yeah. So
So,
it's like there's
and I don't know what the stipulation is. What is the reason that they can't fly here?
well, I saw the little interview on like a little clip of a video that Tommy Fury posted saying he's like, "Oh, I know the reason why I can't fly." And then I saw that Jake Paul said he can fix the issue quickly. He just has to um go to uh I forgot where he said he had to go, but it's something that he could easily fix, but he's dragging his feet to do it. So it's he's using this as an
Mm,
excuse to cancel the fight or get out of the fight because you know he got out of the fight before, but he had an injury supposedly. So,
right.
but he's saying that he's using this not being able to fly as an excuse because he has to go do something really quick that takes like 1 or 2 days, and start he can be cleared to fly. So I don't know.
And I mean, honestly, it's like who is going to drag their feet where there's money involved? You
Yeah,
know,
so
I
I'm
mean,
yeah.
really, it's like I'm sure there's big money involved in this. I mean, that's just my opinion. Because there has to be for
Well, he
somebody
said,
who wants to
yeah,
go
Jake
ahead.
Paul
I'm
said this
sorry.
would be the biggest payday for Tommy Fury. So I wouldn't see why he would want to pull out this
Yeah,
fight
I
again.
don't
So,
either. I don't either. I
but
mean, I think that he'd be a fool not to fight him, you know, for the money. And maybe he wants to be, you know, a big dog like his brother. I don't know. I don't see that happening.
well, I
But
know his brother and his father cannot fly.
yeah, I knew that.
And I don't know if that's as fixable as his. I think his issue is not the same issue as theirs, but um
Okay. It's
I
just like
just feel
we
like
never know.
all these pro bellum fighters and these MTK fighters, they all been kind of like left in the dust. But you know, at least the fighters that are here in the states are able to fight. It's the ones that are like
Yeah.
out of the
Yeah,
country that are.
absolutely. And then here we have hello, Lee. How are you?
Hi, Lee.
Doing well.
Good, good.
Thanks
We
for
were
the
just
invite.
talking about, yes, absolutely. We were talking about Bam's performance. I thought it was amazing. What was your opinion on his performance last weekend?
Bam Rodriguez couldn't have asked for any better. I
Yeah.
mean, statistically, aesthetically, he was everything that everyone cracked him up to be. He entered the fight as a significant favorite based on his performance against Quadras, and I think he was also favored here because not only because of the Quadras performance, but because Sor Rungvisai is 35 years old. He's coming off
Mm-hmm.
a career-long 15-month layoff. And, Father Time is the greatest thief in boxing history. He took Ali's legs. He took Joe Lewis's effectiveness. He took the abilities, the wondrous abilities of Sugar Ray Robinson after a number of years. And so it goes with Sor Rungvisai. And he
Yeah,
was in the ring against the wrong guy on the wrong night. And Bam, I mean, I work for CompuBox, and the numbers that Bam put up are just off the charts. He landed 54% of his total punches.
wow,
If you land 40% or more of your total punches, that's exceptional. He landed 54. One of the
wow.
keys to CompuBox is if you land 50% or more of your power shots, you're likely to win the fight and probably win it by a knockout, he landed 66% of his power shots against a two-time former champion, a guy who was called by the DAZN team the most dangerous fighter in the 115-pound division. And he did it, man. I mean, that was a star-making performance.
Was ConcuBox working the fight, or you just counted for your own?
I was CompuBox did work the fight. I did not. I was the spectator like everybody else, and I was blown away like everybody else.
You know, and I knew that Bam was going to win, but in the way that he won, I mean, it was just a wash. You know, he was a surgeon doing an operation. It was unbelievable. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't get hit like he did in the fight before for his title, you know, because he took a few punches. But he looked like a totally new and improved Bam, in my opinion. Did you have like any doubt that that's how it was going to end up?
I was thinking that the fight would end on a decision because Sorungvisai hadn't been knocked out since his first two professional fights back in 2009. Believe it or not, he began his career with back-to-back knockout losses, and so Bam came in and he did the job. And there's the man. There's Jamel.
Yes.
What a surprise!
I've been quiet for. I know I've been quiet.
What's up, champ?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I can't complain.
What did you think about the fight last weekend with Bam? We're going
Which one?
around. With Bam Rodriguez.
Oh, that was
his title.
That was more of a coming out party. You know, like a lot of people knew the kid was already good. But when you finally get that marquee name and you look good while doing it and winning in that spectacular fashion, I thought he looked good.
Yeah, he did. He looked really good. And then what did you think? So what did everybody think whenever he said, I already asked Nika. So he said, you know what? I'm not going to fight my brother at 115. I'm going to go back to 112. What did you think about that, Lee? I mean, should brothers fight each other?
The Klitschko's did?
No, probably not. There was a fight in Japan a number of years ago between two brothers. They were fighting for a national, I think, minimum weight title. And one brother stopped the other in round 6. And you could just tell it was awkward, man. It was really awkward. Yeah. And the Klitschko brothers had the wisdom to say right at the beginning, we are never going to fight each other, even if we're holding heavyweight titles at the same time, because we promised our mother that we never would. And, you know, that's the story that they stuck with, you know. But as far as Bam moving down in weight, yeah, I mean, I would personally like him to see, you know, to complete his journey at 115 first. I'd like to see him fight Chocolatito and Estrada to sort of complete the 4 fighters who have controlled the division or been prominent in the division for the last decade. But, you know, I think right now Josh is the secondary champion to Estrada, and I think they're supposed to fight each other. So if
I was going to say that, I
beat Estrada, that's an awful lot for Bam to give up. But remember, before he fought Quadras, he was supposed to fight a 108-pound title fight against the secondary WBA 108-pound champion, Bermudez. And that fight didn't get approved by the WBA. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go down and seek out fights against Julio Cesar Martinez and some of the other flyweights down there. But I personally like to see Bam hang around for a while, 115, just based on what we saw.
I would too. I would too. What were you going to say, champ? You got your hand raised.
I mean, the simplest term is this, going off with you know, what everyone was saying. the simplest term is just to go where the fights is at and the money's at. If the money and the fights are at where you're at now, there's no point in moving up and down. You know, if you want to clean up the division while you can still do that without fighting your brother. You can go fight this other top notch fighters in the division, but to feel like you got to go. I feel like he's trying to go down to make room for his brother, which is great, no, but I said like for his own legacy and career, I would just go where the fights at with whether is he is the weight class is it now, below or lower. Just keep racking the W's up, and over time your resume will speak for you. Well, shout out to my man Abraham Gonzalez, 75. Hoorah.
Bronx,
B
the
brother.
Bronx in the
B,
house.
B Bronx.
From New York fights. Yes, yes.
My
He
man
took
A.
over.
Honestly, I think Bam could clear out 8, 12, and 15. I do. I think he could. He's getting older. I think he just turned 22, so his manpower is coming on even stronger. Um, I could see him clearing out each division. I'm not sure. I know he wants to go back to 112. I'm not sure if he wants to go back to 108, but I think he
It's
could
nothing,
clear
Christine. Like
clear
what
it all up.
names? I mean, what names is at 112? No offense to anybody down, but like in terms of like
Yeah,
that can bring in the exposure of you fighting on the zone and you know what I mean. You gotta. That's
right.
nothing with the boxing business. You gotta like with these networks, they expect you to fight names with some appeal, especially if you're not like if you basically want that fighter that needs a good dance partner for views, and it's not like
Sure.
Canelo. Canelo can fight anybody. People gonna tune in. But like if you're a fighter when you need a pocket, honestly, I was in that situation. You need a good. I needed you need a good dance partner to also bring on the
Hmm.
business side of people want to come see the fight and
Yeah.
want to watch the fights.
To answer your question about who is at 112 pounds, so here are the champions.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The IBF champion is Sonny Edwards of England,
My
right?
man Sonny. Shout out to my man Sonny Edwards in UK.
Yeah.
Okay. The WBA champion, he is the world champion, but there's no super champion, so he's the real champion. Artem Dalakian of Russia.
Yeah.
I think he's the
Dalakian,
longest tenured of the 4 champions. I think the 2 fighters where Bam could really get high profile and some pretty good competition. The WBO champion is Junto Nakatani, and he's a
Yes.
southpaw. He's tall. He's rangy. He passes the eye test. He looked good in his last few
Hmm.
fights. And then of course you have Julio Cesar Martinez,
Hmm.
who was supposed to have fought on the card last weekend against McWilliams Arroyo in a rematch, but I think he
He was
got
sick,
sick or
right?
injured or
Yeah.
whatever. So there's no, considering Martinez's health and his injuries, you never know whether he's going to actually report into the ring. But I think the latter 2 fights between, with Martinez and with Nakatani, those are really intriguing fights for Bam.
I totally agree with you, Lee. I do. And Martinez is so awkward, and I mean that respectively. Like, I mean, he switches without any rhyme or reason, and he can throw from any angle. He's awkward. I think that would be a very exciting fight. And Nakatani, he's very well rounded. I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
Those two would
I
be really good.
But I think in terms of purse, I think maybe the Sonny Edwards fight brings him the most revenue because of the fact that it's a UK fighter. He
Mhm.
has he also has a big promoter behind him as well, and
Yeah, that's true.
unification matchups always call for decent payday. So in terms of at least because Sonny's making the name for himself, so at least those 2 fighters are at least known to more even more towards the hardcore boxing fans.
Since
Yep,
since
that's true.
you were signed to MTK and you probably know some stuff about Pro Bellum, do you know if some of the fighters that were signed to there are like not allowed to fly here?
Listen, no
Or it's
offense.
better not to answer.
No. I mean, no offense to nobody out there with their situation. Like, I actually got away from that right after the Shakur fight. That's when everything started. Shout out to my man Gary Gittleson. That's my advisor. Gary Gittleson's old school. But I don't like honestly. I don't like everything you guys are seeing. I'm just it's all new news to me with all this whole MTK fighters and everyone associated with Daniel, Kenningham and things like that. Like it's just all news to me because for the most part, I wasn't really dealing with like I'm honest, like I wasn't really dealing with much of what was going on. I was just in terms of hey, I'm trying to fight. I'm trying to get this fight with Shakur done, but I need you guys to have my back in terms of negotiation. That was really it for me. That was really it. Even with the I worked with them for the Frampton fight because I needed that fight on my resume. So I was like, yo, you gotta sometimes like that's why I respect with for instance with my man, he just fought Devin Haney did with for the Cambosis fight. Sometimes you gotta just side with whoever
Just
if
do
you're
it.
trying, if you're trying to get that fight because he had to basically side with my man Ludabella and of course to my top ranked family in order to get that fight. So I basically was in the same boat with the Franklin fight. I had to go do what I had to do, and it was nothing like it was no bad. It was no like bad ill will feelings towards him because, like I said, to me it was just business. So what you guys are seeing now, I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
because I see that. I mean, Tyson Fury's not allowed to fly here. His
no,
father's
no,
not.
I was just telling my man JC, shout out to JC. I was just telling him yesterday. I said, man, let me go see if I can go fly to the UK. They told me I can't go nowhere.
No, that's why I was
Right.
asking because I
I
know
don't
that
know. Like,
MTK
I
was
really
involved
don't
in that,
know.
and I haven't seen Sonny Edwards fight in a while, so I don't know if he's allowed to
Listen,
fly over
listen,
here.
I seen the
So
Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall's fight being announced. I was like, yo, I need to get my plane ticket. I was like, let me not announce that in public.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if they might have me banned.
Oh my. No, and I have a question for you, champ. So before we go, 'cause I want to start talk about Jessica Mccaskill. But before we go on, I just kind of want to change gears. So everybody always talks about boxing is the loneliest sport. Like it is one of the hardest, and it is, if not the hardest, and the loneliest sport. And I just want to ask you, what does it look like whenever somebody says, just like Mikey Garcia, he just announced, well, he didn't even announce, I think it was like a picture, that he
Of
said,
his on his Instagram. I think it was
retired.
his
Yeah,
Instagram. He put it in the bio that he's retired. That's what
right. That
everybody
he's
was posting
retired.
here.
So he didn't actually make an official announcement. But, what is it like when that happens? I mean, who's around you? We talked about this before. Like, who's there? Who's there whenever you decide, you know what? I'm going to take a bow and I'm going to do something else. Who's
Christine, I'm
there?
glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I actually was talking with Nike about this recently. Honestly, like it's actually it's rough. It's really like it depends how you take, and it all depends how you exit out. You know what I mean? So that takes a toll to it too. But like for the most part, I can say, at least for my situation, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there's times I'll be like, yo, maybe I just need a little break and let me creep
Go
back.
back.
But
Yeah.
but that's
Which
every league.
many have done. Yeah.
But I don't want to be that fighter when it's like for me, honestly, I was gonna address it on my own, but I'm glad you gave me the platform for like for me, it wasn't so much about like I can't do it no more. It's just like the little for me meant like not mentally, but like physically, like you, Christine, Nike, you guys have seen my career, like my body is just going like from the everything amateurs, my body just goes through hell. And like, oh, man, look at me. I didn't put on a ton of weight. I can go, y'all know who I work with, perfected athletes, so the weight, but like it was just so much like, man, like my body says, you might want to step back, whatever. That was for me. And then that's when that phase you talked about, Christine, when you had to take that bow, I was like, man, it's really quiet. like it's like
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I can say this right now. Shout out to my man, shout out to my B&B family because it's funny how things played out because like me and Bomac, we've been communicating, here and there back and forth away from the whole, the business and the drama of boxing and like those little moments, like I can tell you those little moments right there, those mean more to me because these people that forget, like you said, who like when
Right.
like who's there, and
Yeah.
like I said, shout out to my man Manny Robles. Manny Robles still hits me up and checks me up, but it's like it's good to know that there are good people out there. Like me and Bomac will sit there and text, joke, still whatever after everything. And it's like at least I can say like I know if I run to these individuals that played a major part in my career, that it's all I
Mhm.
can embrace and it's all love. But it's hard. I'm right now I'm going back and forth with top rank, not in terms of like, but I'm trying to like I want to do more commentating because I'm like, yo, it's really like I was at a point where I was like, man, I want to go back to the gym. Like I was telling Manny, I want to come back to the gym. I want to come back to the gym. I want to go.
But
I
see,
Yeah.
want
you're lucky that you already had your foot in
yeah, but
commentating.
it's like,
Yeah, and you're
A
great
lot
at
of
it.
boxing, yeah,
exactly.
you were already
It's that point.
commentating while you were fighting. So
Think
people,
about those fighters that don't
I
have,
know,
because
yeah.
something like that was my biggest fear. My biggest fear was to exit as an active fighter
Mhm.
without a backup plan, because that's what
Yeah.
that's what actually draws ex fighters back into boxing when they know they should have no reason being in,
Yes.
like you guys like I don't for me it was just like it nicks and pains that I couldn't
Mhm.
that even when I was going with Paulina, like, because Paulina, she thinks I can still continue because she knows my body best. But I was like, I gotta get these things checked out because I'm like, these are the things like I'm not gonna lie to you guys because of my age. When I was a world champion, I couldn't afford to be like, oh, let me go take surgery and go do this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta
You
try to
couldn't
use my
take that time off.
I
Yeah.
need to use these prime years while I'm at my best as
because they
much
could
as
strip you.
yeah, and that
Right.
too. So I was
Right.
like.
Exactly.
So I just dealt with a lot. I just dealt with a lot of things, and it's like, okay, now I have time to take care of it. But it was like, man, like,
Well,
it's rough. It's
it
really
seems
hard.
like boxing fans are the most unforgiving. It's like when you're on top, I mean, you have like the masses behind you. But as soon as something doesn't go your way, it's like
Oh,
they drop you. They move on to the next shiny toy, you
it was
know?
on my ass. It was on
And
my ass after she
yeah,
got fight.
yeah.
I'm like, man, I was just, but like that's just the boxing demographic, and it's to the point where I even tell my young fighters that I do manage the sport. You got to be prepared for these things. Like you like guys like guys like Shoo Shoo,
Mhm. Mhm.
Tiger. All my young guys I did, they look
Mhm.
great right now. But I was like, you might have a performance where you might look mediocre, or you just don't look that great. You got to be prepared for to take the good with the bad.
The criticism. Yeah, and
Yeah,
social media
criticism.
is
You gotta have
Everywhere.
you gotta have.
everywhere.
I mean, people are like, oh, champ, like they think I can have an opinion. Oh, you 0-2. I'm like, so we're
Right.
gonna just get all the other good, get all the
Right.
like all the defenses I made, and I ain't never run
The
from no.
build up and where
Yeah,
you
but you
started.
gotta,
Exactly.
you guys. I mean, I'll sit there and joke with her. If you can't, it's hard for you to get under my skin. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like some. That's why I try to instill
That's
these
why
young
I
guys.
could not be an African. I don't have.
Hey,
I will be going back and forth with everybody.
We know.
And the
Yeah.
thing about it is, Jamel is one of the most popular guys on
Yeah, but
Twitter.
they turn
He's one of the very
absolutely.
few guys
They
who
turn on
could
him like
get
this.
almost universal support and positivity from Twitter. And
Yes.
even with Jamel's status, it's hard. Just imagine if
Yes.
you were a more polarizing guy.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
and it's crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm glad since we like I said again that we here. Like when I did announce that I just didn't want to. I ain't had no love for the sport, but I just did my body wasn't gonna do it. The first thing I did, Christine, the first thing I did, I reached out to everybody. I reached out to everybody who played a major part in my career. I reached out to Bo, Red, and Sabo, and I was like, listen, I just want to say, hey, thank you three, because without you, I wouldn't have been a world champion. I went to go thank my first trainer when I went pro, my man Mike Stafford, who's that name with Adrian. But listen,
Mhm.
that's one thing about me. I never forget where I came from and who played an intricate part,
Mhm.
where I had to get to. Everybody from the beginning played because without them, whether it was good or bad, I probably would have made a decision that got me to where I needed to be at. So,
Right.
that right there. When I spoke to again, I spoke to Red, Bo, and them. It was all love and cool. Love and peace. Because a lot of people, they get the story out there like, oh, it's bad. No,
Sure.
people just move on. But like for me, I never forget where I came from. Like see, even Manny, they still try to get me to come to the gym. They try to get me to come to the gym now for camp.
Well, the thing is that people don't think about like the psychological and emotional part of it. It's like whenever you're training, you have these dreams, you want to be an Olympian, a world champion one day, and nobody teaches you or gives you the scenario. But what if you lose? What if you make it this far and then you don't make it any further? So your mind doesn't get to deal with
Right.
that, or your emotions. You don't get to like think about, yeah, what if? Because yes, I mean, we do have to build each other up. Like, you're going to be a champ, you're going to do this and that. But what if something happens?
It's not
And who's
crazy.
prepared for that?
I mean, a lot
And
of people,
prepared for the
none of us are.
people
None
to
of us.
like say, we're done with you.
Nah, none of us are. None of us are. Like no fighter, no fighter. Because I mean, what you said is right though. Like when you go pro, when you just get to even the amateurs as amateurs, you always say to yourself, you always got that group of people behind you. Also, hey, you're gonna do
Yeah.
this. You're gonna see. So you
Mhm.
in your mindset, you prepare your mind. I'm gonna be a national champion. I'm gonna get to the Olympics and so on and so on.
Yeah.
But it's rough when you get hit by reality and those things don't happen. Like, I mean, there was times, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was times when I was sitting back like, man, how I don't know if I can, I don't know how much if I can get to do this or that, and then
Yeah.
everything hitting you because you also got to be looking like tomorrow night, whatever, something may not go your way, so you got to prepare
Right.
ahead of time. At least I always tell people ahead of time, like at least man, have a backup plan because you never know. And not so much if you even just fall off. You might go in there and get injured, and that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. So
Yeah.
I always that's another thing I tell these, especially fighters, young and old. You always want to
Mhm.
have something to fall back on, and that was my thing with commentating. I know I always had
Yes, fall back on.
sports, but like you see me, I was jumping into it while I was an active world champion. That was just me because I never knew.
Very smart.
I might get injured where I may never get fight again. So, but at least I know I can fall back on something that I can be happy with. But it's sad because I
Mhm.
see a lot of my friends that I started out with as a young fighter back in New York. They're either locked up or they're around, but they're miserable because they
Right.
thought in their heart and mind that they was going to be the next Floyd and pound for pound, and it just didn't go their
Mhm.
way. So they didn't plan for it.
Life after
Yeah.
boxing, man.
And,
That is so key.
it
That
is.
should be a show. That should be a reality TV show, Life After Boxing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I got stories. I got stories. I don't put in my they fighting. I mean, we had beef, but and they fighting soon. But I know for a fact, like his father basically, was trying to
Yeah.
plead with the promoter, like, hey, this is all we got, this so you and basically, trying to let
Yeah, I
the
know who you're
promoter
talking
know this,
about. Yeah.
yeah, and the promoter looking at them like, hey, get a job. If you know what I mean,
Right.
if things go your way. So
Right.
like boxing is very cutthroat. So
Mm.
you keep doing,
And
if you're not it, they'll let you know.
absolutely.
Wow.
And they don't care because they see dollar signs. And that's why I'm such an advocate about sports psychologists, because people, like I said, they don't prepare you. Well, what if this doesn't happen? Or let's say it happens and then
Right.
it's over. How do you deal with it? And I think that emotionally and psychologically, we need professionals to help our champs get through it.
Right.
And like you have a plan B, and there's so many that don't, because they don't think about that. All they
Listen,
think about is right now, right here.
listen, Christine. The moment I got the ring, right, I never forget. I got the ring. I'm not stupid. Like I know how this business is. I got the ring. I went over to Top Ranks matchmakers. My man Bruce and Brad. I shook their hand. I was like, listen. I said, hey, I'm done. I'm done. I thank you guys for everything you've done for my career. I love you guys, but I'm good. I'm
I have
done.
a question for you. If
Because listen,
when
on,
no wait, let
on
me
the
ask
flip
this
side,
question.
they'll start making you.
Talk.
I was going to be on a stepping stool and keep putting my body through grueling hell for 2 months for what?
No, so my question for you is, when you started doing the commentating for Top Rank, did you approach them with it, or did they like approach you and say, "Hey, you want to
No,
commentate?"
I,
Like,
I approached them with it.
oh, so you pushed it.
I
Okay.
actually was trying to do it when I was under Al Heyman for the PBC. Remember when PBC was actually having fighters randomly do commentating every other show, whatever, and be somebody
Yeah,
different.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I actually approached them about it, but I just never got the opportunity. So when I signed with Tyrant, I went to them as well. Like, hey, I want to commentate, and
Oh, that was smart.
like I said, NBC gave me
Yeah.
NBC when they had their thing going on. I wish they bring it back. They let me commentate, Triller let me commentate, and then Top Rank. Like honestly, like I said, I got 4 dates. In from July and August. 2 days in July, 2 days in August.
Fabulous.
The commentate for Top Rank. So like, I
Good
mean,
for you, man.
yeah, and it keeps me.
Yeah,
And it
it
keeps
is
me.
good. It is good. Lee, what can be done? I mean, what do you think should be
Salute.
done? And when should it start in a boxer's life, in a boxer's career?
As soon as possible. As soon as the big money starts coming in, they it is good to have a plan, a financial plan. The toughest thing though is finding people you could trust to handle the money. I
Yes.
mean, look,
Key
Joe
word.
Lewis. Joe Lewis was rolling in the money as heavyweight champion, but when he decided to fight, I think a couple of title defenses for the war effort, and the guy handling the money did not do it correctly in a way that would satisfy the IRS, and the IRS ended up charging him for that money as income, and he didn't have the money. He thought he was giving it to the war effort.
Yeah.
And that's where the tax problem
Yeah.
started, and it would
Yeah.
affect him for the next 30 years of his life. He eventually lost his sanity over it. He fought on too long because of it. And that was because the person who was supposed to handle the money in the right way didn't do it in the right way. And it had very, very heavy ramifications for Joe Lewis in his life. So do it as soon as possible. Be smart
Yeah.
about it. Bam
Absolutely.
Rodriguez is a world champion now. He's ready to hit the big money. He should talk to his people right now and form a plan.
No, and another thing also that a lot of these young fighters, because listen, like boxing, like Christine said, is a lonely man sport, even behind the cameras, because a lot of us we don't have you know, the agents and the accountants behind us like other athletes do in other sports. So like one thing I learned, and thank God I could have quit was watching a lot of these fighters. They gotta watch their taxes every year. Those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Listen, when I became world champion and I started really paying attention more to everything that was going around me, I got hit. I was getting hit hard, and I was like, okay, I had to change. I had to change things up. Make it LLCs and things like that. But like a lot of these fighters, I know personally, like they let tax season go by and they think nothing because listen, they don't hit you until they got a big lump sum or a case really behind you that you can't win. And I was like. And I actually was caught. I actually found myself just for a little bit, paying for back tests that I wasn't paying any mind to as a fighter. But like a lot of fighters I see also, they get hit with so much again back pay for taxes that they had to come back to the sport and like the whole Joe Lewis fight situation and being hit longer than they need to be. And so I tell fighters they need to have some financial literacy behind them as well.
And if
when
we're
you fought
totally
overseas,
honest,
did you have? Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Lee. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Lee.
When you fought overseas, when you fought Carl Frampton, did you have to pay taxes in the other country as well as in America?
No.
And who took care of that?
Yeah, I think that was honestly, I think that was a whole MTK thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, Lee. I didn't have to pay. I'm being straight up. Like I don't remember paying. I remember take care of my.
You remember? It's just somewhere on
take
paper.
Care of my team. That's all I remember. Hey, first thing I do is take care of my team, and after that. Well, yeah,
And if we're honest, and we call a spade, boxing, not only is it a lonely sport, but it's a poor man's sport. I mean, it really is. I mean, all these other sports are charging hundreds and thousands of dollars. And you get these kids, that want a place to belong. Not everybody, but majority. and they go to the local boxing gym, they hang out and they end up boxing, and some have talent, some don't. And then the ones that make it, it's like, who has shown them and taught them about paying taxes and
Nobody.
finances and everything. And it's like, we need people like you, and I think it's amazing that you're talking about it right now, to mentor, because we already know the promoters, all they care about is the mighty dollar. All they see is the color green. They don't care where you come from, what you do. They want to see green. And there's some great managers out there, and there's not some great managers out there. But how do they learn? Who shows them? This
I
can.
think Bernard Hopkins is starting to take that mantle. He's advising fighters
Is
to
he?
go into real estate, and there are
Okay.
several fighters. I know Rafael Varela
Love
is
it.
is doing very well in real estate. Sean O'Grady, who was a guest on in this corner of the podcast with Smitty and I on Fight TV, he revealed that he's in the real estate business. So. And I think there are other fighters that I've heard that have taken that advice as well. So there are
Good.
some fighters, but there always
Makes
can
me
be
happy.
more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we have a responsibility when we know better and we're doing better. We have a responsibility to share that. Um, I that's just my opinion. I don't know.
No, I think because I hate to see, like I remember there was like an actor that used to be on the Bill Cosby show, and people were making fun of him when he was working at the supermarket.
Whenever
You know, yeah. And then Tyler Perry gave him a job, but it's like you would hate to see like a boxer who put their whole life through blood, sweat, and tears, and then you just see them working out like
Well, Bobby Chez. Bobby Chez
Yeah.
worked at a supermarket after
Yeah.
his television career ended. It's honest work, but
Yeah, but
and all that, but and he could have been doing other things, but he found an honest way to make a living. But yeah, compared to where he was, world champion boxer, very excellent commentator,
Wow.
and you wish him well going forward, all as always. But
yeah.
it's a humbling thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This dialogue is amazing. Like, I think it's so great. And I'm hoping that, people that are listening, they can pass on the information and
Yes. Watch your
and take
money,
responsibility.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Do your taxes.
Yes, Nancy. Yes,
Nancy.
absolutely. Hello, Nancy. We miss you. We'll see you next week. And then we have a new subscriber, Lone Star
that's
Steph. Thank you so much.
Is that Clever? I think that's Clever. Yeah, from
Thank
Twitter.
you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate y'all so much. I really do. Love you. Love you so much. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to ask y'all's opinion about the Jessica Mccaskill fight. Lee, what were your thoughts on that fight?
On paper, this was a really fascinating fight because both fighters had really excellent backstories. Jessica Mccaskill earned her first championship fight by going up to Eddie Hearn. They had a fight card in Chicago. It was her hometown. She goes up to Eddie Hearn, and not only does she talk her way onto the card, she talks her way into a world title fight, and she wins it.
Yeah, it was Cecilia.
So she becomes a world champion. Then she beat Cecilia Brækhus twice to become a 2-division champion and undisputed. And she's made it in life. She's an investment banker, and now she's a world championship boxer. And then Alma Ibarra, number one contender. She is a single mom. She has a son with hemophilia, and she was actually kidnapped the night before her Olympic qualifying tournament. And she was held for 20 hours. The police broke her out. And at the time of her kidnapping, her son was in the hospital for a skateboarding accident like a week earlier.
Wow.
So she tried to get back into the tournament, and they rejected her because she missed the fight because she was kidnapped. But she worked her way to the number one spot in multiple organizations. She beat Maricela Cornejo, who competed at 168 as a 160 pounder, handled her pretty well. Beat Candy Wyatt in her most recent fight. And so, based on the film that I watched of Ibarra, I thought that she would give Mccaskill a challenge.
Yeah.
But as soon as the fight started, Jessica roars out of the corner, which is what she should have done, lands a big overhand right that shakes her up, and from there on, it was just one-way traffic. And in between rounds 3 and 4, she told her corner that she was really annoyed with Mccaskill's roughhouse tactics, and she wanted to just get back home to her son. And she retired
I don't
on her
mean to lie.
stool.
It's not funny.
She retired on her stool between rounds. Now, of course, the fighter's code suggests that you fight on until the bitter end. But she also, I guess she put the mother's code over the fighter's code. And she wanted to be healthy, go back to her son, who needs her because of the hemophilia. And if she decides to retire, and she's had a world title fight, she's had her shot, she experienced it. If she just goes into the sunset and raises her son, I wish her well. But she showed there that she wasn't ready to become a world champion, especially against the likes of a Jessica Mccaskill, who's tough as nails and who is just strong and formidable.
Absolutely. So, Champ, did you get to see that fight?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What did you think about it?
It was typical McCaskills, like so she gonna just make it rough, make it rough on you from start to finish. Like, I mean, it's not the most eye appealing or technical fight,
right?
But yeah, pretty. But it does have some entertainment value to it, and like we were saying, I guess she took the mother's approach, and her opponent took the mother's approach in the end, which I can respect. But it's like, well, boxing, like you mentioned earlier, these fans don't forget. So it's like, if you're going to take that approach, stay on that approach. Don't you really can't come back though and be like, oh, you want to. They're gonna remind you of what you may have said or did in the past. So like, I mean, like for the most part, if she's gonna take that approach, stick with that approach. God bless her, and it is what it is. But in terms of Jessica, for me, Jessica, she's not a bad fighter, but like I think like how you guys are saying how she talked her way into fights. She talks a good game now, and she'll trash everybody out there, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's cool, no, but you gotta live up to that hype that you're putting on yourself now, because you know what I mean. So you gotta be like, why we should be watching you instead of
tighten up on a few things.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of and like, why should we be watching you instead of like the Michaelas and the other girls you be out here talking about?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like I said, for me, I'm actually happy to be a part of an era where we see like women's boxing is really still getting that recognition. Like these female fighters are not just looked at as just female fighters. Like these are real fighters, and they got their own personality, and they know how to build a mega fight and do good numbers just as much as the men.
Yep, that's true. That's very true. Nika, what did you think about the fight?
Well, I thought that Alma was gonna do way more than what she did from her previous fights. So that's why I feel like she has a lot more going on than what we know, because she wanted to quit. Like, she's like, if she keeps holding, or like, that's part of boxing. Boxers hold. Like, you really gonna quit the fight because the person's holding? I feel like there was something else going on that we don't know about, because she just she looked like she gave up. So she gave up. So she made to me, in my opinion, she made Mccaskill look much more like a
Dominant.
dominant fighter than what I think that she actually is, because I don't think that she's like that monster that, she just made her look that way because she wasn't putting in the effort. She wanted to quit. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
there
think
and
was a
she's
point. There was a point in round one, shortly after the big overhand right landed. There was a look on Alma's face that looked like, "Uh-oh, I am in over my head.
so
I
maybe
am
that's
out of my depth right
Mhm.
now.
so that's probably what
What
she was
is
like, you know
going
what?
on?" I mean, she's in a big on a big stage, going up against an undefeated, or not undefeated, but undisputed champion, and she's being overwhelmed. And what are you going to do? You boxing is a sport more than any other in which you can see the core, see into the core of a person, and it's fight or flight. And when
Yeah.
you are in trouble, how are you going to handle it? There is no time to think. There is the time to react. And in reacting, you show who you are. And Jamel has been in trouble, and he showed himself to be a warrior. He fought through cuts, he fought through adversities. He didn't always win, but he always gave it his best shot. And
Mhm.
that he honored himself in doing his best. Other
Yeah.
fighters are like the man on the street. I mean, if I was in there and I was cut and I was being overwhelmed, regular man on the street would be very, very tempted to bow out because we have no frame of reference to how to fight back and fight on.
Right.
But
Yeah,
professional fighters are a special breed, and
for
and
sure.
that bravery and that instinct that they show is one of the reasons why I admire fighters so very, very much.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
and oh,
Jamel can you can speak on this too, and I know you know what I'm saying. It's like when you're in the corner, it's a very intimate relationship. Your cornerman, your cut man, your second, and the fighter. I mean, they know what you've been through, what's
Right.
going on in your home. If you have an injury that nobody knows about that you can't speak of, or whatever. It's like it's a very intimate thing. So my first thought was, okay, Alma's coach didn't say too much when she said, you know what, if she's going to keep holding, I'm going to go home to my son.
Right.
I was wondering, did he know something that was maybe going on with her
No,
son, and she
sometimes,
wasn't there?
yeah, no, sometimes as the trainer, you sometimes the trainers are just as shocked in the
Yeah,
corner as the viewer listening to, because one thing like you pointed out,
that's
like
true too.
a trainer knows because he's been with you for 6-8 weeks in camp. If something's bothering you and they know about it and they trying to get you to, they'll fight through it. But when the minute you start saying other things like, no, she keeps holding, I just want to go home to my son, your trainer is not expected to hear that,
Mhm.
because
Mhm. Mhm.
he probably was thinking
to
like, hey,
me, it was like,
okay, we're going to go. Okay, we're going to regroup. We're going to make these
yeah, that wasn't
adjustments.
happening.
But yeah, when that's not happening, like when when your fighter says, I gave it my best. I'm ready. I'm ready. No trainer prepared for that. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I've actually seen trainers, and as a result, they end up beefing with that fighter, or they just don't work with them. I mean, think about it. A few years back, one thing I can think, Lee, you know the story. Joshua Clottey, when he fought Pacquiao, his
Mm-hmm.
Clottey's trainer was pissed off. Like, he said Clottey ain't have no kahunas. Like, so like he wasn't, because he wasn't expecting that in the corner. Like, hey, we worked 6 to 8 weeks. We didn't come here for this. So
Yeah,
sometimes the trainer is just as shocked how the fighter's performing or mentally
that's true.
acting as the viewer.
That's fair.
You know what
That's
I
fair.
heard
Yeah.
when she said that? I felt like she was saying, like, you know what? If she keeps punching, I'm gonna go home, because holding is part of boxing. Like, that's what boxers do. So you might as well just have said, if she keeps punching, I'm gonna go home. So I just feel like she was just not in that fight. Like, she
I
already
think
quit
I
before
think
she
she
started.
saw. I think she looked into the future, and that future did not look very good.
Yeah.
She was just going to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
getting hit with those power shots, and she thought, it's
Yeah.
not worth it, man. It is not worth it. I have a
Yeah.
son that I have to take care of after this. I
Because
don't want
like
to have any
holding,
more brain cells go more than
yeah,
necessary.
because holding, you would think that somebody would say like if they keep headbutting, because headbutting is like more severe, like you're
Right.
gonna, you know, but
Yeah.
holding, like if you say if she keeps holding, I'm gonna go home, girl, you don't want to
Clinching
fight.
is
You don't
illegal,
want
though.
to.
Like I
You
said,
know,
like I said, the team, they can't,
He
they
did
can't.
look dumbfounded.
Yeah, exactly. You can. It's
Yeah.
hard to put it. It's hard to put it as an act, you know, in the corners of the team. Listen, true story. I remember after the whole thing with me and Okendo. You know, we wasn't prepared for that. My team certainly was, because true story. When I got back, Bud got my ass. so so y'all seen in return what happened when I had to go do for the Frampton fight. But sometimes it could be a negative or a positive. Like after everything that happened after with my situation with the Okeno fight, and I was you guys, I was getting criticized week in and week out. That right,
big
even
time.
my own team, it just built a
Yeah.
fire in me. I had to come. I had to redeem myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I had seen
I see you, Boxiana. Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, she ain't want to
yes,
fight. She
thanks,
just
Vaxiana.
get
She did.
get that
No, yeah.
check. You know, pay for that
She's like, I'm
daycare. Get
out.
up
I'm
out of
gonna
here.
get the check regardless. I'm out. Um, I had seen a tweet. So Mccaskill had fought Katie Taylor before, and she lost. And Rick Ramos was saying, and I know he's been wanting to fight for a long time, the rematch.
Crazy.
You know,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, saying Katie is not going to want the fight now again. But in my thoughts, it's like, Katie doesn't have to fight again. Like Katie, she's
Hey.
done what she had to do, and I think that honestly, the result would be the same, that she would win again. What I don't know if you saw that, Lee, on Twitter. What did you think, or what do you think about that with him tweeting that? Like, I mean, is that what he's supposed to do? I mean, he should be proud. I mean, his girl did amazing, and she won, and look at
Yeah.
her. But do you think that was necessary? Does there need to be a rematch?
It's intriguing now because at the time that Jessica fought Katie, Katie was an experienced champion, and Jessica was not. And that was the fight that preceded. You know, she had just lost to Katie Taylor. That's when she approached Eddie Hearn and changed her life. So now that Jessica has become more experienced at the world class level, and Katie, she's Jessica's 37, Katie's 35. It may well be I think it's more intriguing because Jessica has experienced a lot more since their meeting, and Katie Taylor showed in her fight against Serrano. Man, I mean, what a heroic performance in the last few rounds after
Yeah.
being hurt so badly in round 5. Um, Amanda throttled down a little bit in round 7, and that opened the door for Katie to come roaring back. And I'll tell you, the last 30 seconds when they were exchanging in the middle of the ring
Yes.
at Madison Square Garden with a sellout crowd on their feet, screaming their guts out. That is what women's boxing has been building toward all these years, for a moment
Yes.
like that. And so Katie's going to be coming off a high like that, and Jessica Mccaskill is more experienced. I'd like to see the fight happen.
Okay.
It'll probably be at 140 pounds. I'd like to see, I would see titles on the line, but I think Kaylee Reese and Chantel Cameron hold the belts now, right? So,
Yeah.
but even belts don't have to be on the line. It's just that
fight
fight
that we want to see. Yeah.
stylistically and with the star power that both of them have, especially Katie in the UK. My gosh,
Oh, sell out.
I'd really like to see it. I'd really like to see that
Okay.
fight.
I like to see it too.
Nika, you want to see it too?
Yeah, I like to see
but
it.
how will it end in your opinion? If you can just see into the future, how does it end?
I have Katie Taylor winning that fight because I like I said, I don't really. I feel like Mccaskill's. I'm not really sold on her. To me, she just like look mad sloppy. That's what I'm saying. Like Alma made her look superior this weekend. Like she made her look like a better fighter. But I feel like Katie Taylor would like rip her to shreds. So, in my opinion,
Okay.
my
She's got
humble
that
opinion.
amateur
Do you
career, right?
want to see that fight again?
No, I agree with everybody. I think the fight has a way more appeal now. I mean, basically lineal versus lineal, and then respective divisions. I mean, it has I mean, the first fight, you had to really know boxing to really know who Jessica was the first time around. Like I mean, but now she's been on a good run. She's beaten at one point one of the best pound for pound fighters before this era. She took her belts away from her. So like I mean, why not? I mean, she's earned that right. Especially if she built her way back up. Why would you not get if the fight was at least on the table? I mean, who would say none of that? I think it would do great for women's boxing as a whole and financially as well. So, but again, I think it would probably play out the same way in terms of the victors and the losers. But I think it would be a lot more entertaining because there's a story behind it now that you can easily sell and build up.
That's true.
And if
That's
it's at
absolutely true.
147 pounds, Mccaskill has the
Katie.
strength factor, right?
Yeah. That's true. Lee, you posed a question on Twitter. You said, what do boxers look for when they gaze into their foe's eyes? So, Jamal, you're last because you already know what you look for. So I'm going to start with you, Nika. What do you think that boxers look for when they gaze into their foe's eyes?
I mean, I would think that their opponent would have a good poker face, but I guess you're looking for a little bit of fear, I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
I mean, I guess they would be looking for fear in their opponent. For fear? Yeah.
Okay. Lee, what do you think?
Having not been a fighter, I remember I took part in an ESPN exhibition thing, and just for fun, they had us do a stare down with the guy that I was fighting. And I remember staring into his eyes, and the only thing I was thinking was, try to look as mean as you could possibly be, because he's going to do the same thing for you. Just look straight into his eyes. Don't blink. Look determined. Look firm. Look like a badass, which I'm not. And hopefully I can just get through it without him looking down and seeing my leg shaking. That's all.
Okay, so I'm gonna go next. You're last because you got that. You know the answer.
Red says that he's not a stare down type of guy.
Red knows. I'm gonna share a B&B story, but I'm gonna let y'all go.
It's pause-ish. He said it's pause-ish. I'm just gonna say real quick. Whenever my fighter is gonna have to stare somebody in the eyes, I'm always like, you stare deep into his soul, like you snatch his soul. That's what I say. You snatch his soul. But that's what I tell them. I don't know what they're looking for personally, but that's what I tell them. So Jamel, what is it?
It's crazy. No, Red called it. Red, like I was really not into that. So until it's crazy until recently. Like I said, when I get again my B&B family, I never forget when I fought Lamont. Like Red pointed out, I was just doing the stare down because I know him personally anyway. So I was like, okay, whatever, boom, and I turned away. I never forget. And after that, I changed it all up. It was Bud. Bud was like, "Hey man, why you turn first?"
Yeah.
So since then, after that, I was like, Bud, man, I don't made weight. I'm trying to get out of there. Nah, man, you don't never turn away from first when you're opponent. Sorry. So since then.
Never again.
I feel like you're the kind of guy that would laugh in the face of the opponent if you stare too long.
It's hard to keep it straight. Like it's hard. But since then, I'm thinking like, yo, I can't throw away. Bud was like, even my last, I was like, I was sitting there for like a minute with the face. So in my mind, I'm like, yo,
You want to eat?
Can we hurry up?
Eat?
But one time, I'm like, yo, I remember, Bud was like, man, don't you ever turn away from your opponent first. So we sat there the whole time. Yeah, Bud
is a demon.
Thing about it is, fighters are not afraid of each other. They've been through hundreds of thousands of rounds of sparring. They have fought, dozens of fights. They some of them have been raised from little kids, and the fear went away a long time ago. It's just a matter of, I would think, management and going through, putting on the best, making the best of the situation, I suppose. I don't really think fighters are afraid of one another. I think the managers are afraid of the ramifications of a loss.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My man Ronnie said it best. You got to get that if you want to see if a fighter gonna break, you got to do that Ray Leonard beneath that stare down.
Yeah.
In the fight.
Yeah.
Fight night in the middle. You got to do that stare down and see if it really gets out of a fighter. But yeah, for most of our fighters be like it comes down, honestly, my mind mentally, there's tradition to do all these stare down things. So it's like, you expect it. So there's nothing that is going to keep you off guard. So you just be like, okay, whatever. Like, I remember I think the craziest stare down, honestly, was when the first press conference was Shakur. Because Shakur going to talk. So he's one of them, Shakur going to talk. So you gotta basically either, like Ray tell you best, like you gotta basically either bark back, or you gotta just play it real smooth and cool as if it's not bothering you. And I was that, I'm that guy. Like I'm just going like, man, but like Shakur was out there just
he was doing the most.
I was like, man,
we know what Nike thinks. We know what Nike
I'm like, yo, you like
doing the most.
Again, Red was in camp. Like I said, Red's a real one. Red was in camp. Just Red's fight against like 10 of them. I know.
Yeah.
10 of them. Listen.
I was there. I was there too.
Red ran these barking at 10 of them right now.
Yeah.
But no,
that's crazy.
I remember Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier commented about Roberto Duran's eyes, and when he stared down an opponent, and Joe was asked, when you look at Roberto Duran stare at a person, who does he remind you of? And Joe Frazier asked, Roberto Duran reminds me of Charles Manson. That's what his stare was like. The coal black eyes, the eyebrows, just the hard.
I think Mike Tyson has a good one too.
Mike Tyson, Sonny Liston, George Foreman when he was young. Those were some pretty terrifying eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, but Duran's would just burn through you like a couple flamethrowers, because he had to take off a bunch of weight to make 135. And I'd hate to, as I wrote on Twitter, I'd hate to be the guy who forced Roberto Duran to sweat down to 135 pounds, and now he's mad at you. And the next and in a few hours he's going to be across the ring from you, and he's ready to tear your face off.
He's going to punish you.
That was a bad situation, and I'm glad I was only 10 years old at the time, because I wouldn't want to have been a lightweight during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to go around the panel. We have a fight coming up. What is it? The trilogy? Canelo, Triple G. And I want to get y'all's predictions on who's going to win. So I'm always about ladies first. So Nika, Canelo, and Triple G. Who's winning that?
Well, I'm a Canelo fan, so I'm going to go with Canelo. Even though, Triple G did look good in his last fight, but I don't know. I think Canelo's tired of him. He just wants to get him out of there already. He's like, I'm gonna give you this last shot and then keep it moving. He's tired of fighting Triple G. He does not want to fight this man again.
I gotta do it again.
I don't think anybody wants this fight neither. I don't know who was asking for this fight. This is more so like, I guess, part of a deal, but Mm.
Okay. Okay. Jamel, who do you have? Canelo or Triple G?
Um, I'm always big on Canelo. I was big on him the last fight. I was big on him on the first fight against Golovkin, even though I actually thought Golovkin won the first fight. Second fight, I ain't have no, it could have went either way in my opinion. But third fight, I think it's going to sway into Canelo's favor just based off of honestly Father Time.
Yeah.
Despite what we've seen with the whole Bevo fight, I feel like that Canelo wasn't in his natural. I think 175 is his cutoff. Like that's he just not he's not naturally fit for that weight class. I think 168, 160 is his natural frame. And with that being said, I just think like you say what you want against Golovkin, his power is always gonna it's his equalize to get him out of anything. But at the same time, against Murata, he didn't look the greatest and up until then either. So I just think it's one of those things where the Father Time's gonna catch up, and he's still young, and I think he's not gonna make it a brawl. He's gonna just box.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Lee, who do you have?
6 months ago, Canelo Triple G3 was seen as a foregone conclusion
I
for all
know.
the reasons that we were saying. Canelo's or Triple G is the oldest champion in boxing. He's 40 years old.
40 is not that bad.
Canelo is 1-0-1 officially. I thought that Triple G won both fights. The first rather decisively, the second closer. Canelo fought better, made the adjustments, and made it closer. But I still thought Triple G won like 7 rounds to 5. But after Triple G defeated Ryota Murata, he did have some issues in rounds 2 through 5. He did get shook up a little bit, but then he recovered and he looked pretty good in putting Murata away. His output was good. He put together the combinations and he did the job. He did what he needed to do. Canelo is coming off the heels of Bivol losing to Bivol.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main reasons was Bivol's jab and ring generalship. Statistically speaking, Triple G has the best jab in boxing when it comes to accuracy and number of connects per round. I think he's the only fighter to average 10 or more connects with a jab per round. Now, he's not as tall as Bivol, and he doesn't have the reach of Bivol, but he can borrow from that playbook. And his best chance of victory is to keep the fight at long range with the jab. If he can do that and extend the fight and make Canelo doubt himself, he can win. But Triple G is 40. Canelo is 32. I think he's just celebrated his
Because it just
32nd
sounds so
birthday.
bad when people say he's 40 and I hear 40. I'm like, oh.
Hey, I'm 57.
You're
I
in
know
your
what I'm talking
50s.
about, right?
Shut up,
Right?
dude.
Okay, so I haven't run the numbers yet, but my gut tells me that Canelo is going to win by decision. Canelo is full of fury. He hates Triple G. Triple G hates him,
Yeah.
and more than any of the 3 fights. The first was respectful. The second, I think, planted the seed of the hate that we are seeing now.
You think it's real?
I'm a little surprised
Mhm.
that a fracas hasn't broken out yet with all the stare downs that they have had at the baseball game,
Yeah.
at the press conference, at all this other stuff.
In the Bronx.
One of these times, somebody's going to say something, and something's going to happen. But my gut tells me they're going to be professionals. They're veterans at this. They're going to save their fury for the ring. I think that Canelo is just too young, and because he's coming off a loss and he wants to make up for it, he's going to be fighting at the weight that he prefers. Triple G is moving up in weight. He's only fought past 160 pounds once. And I like Canelo by decision. So it took me a
Okay.
while to get around,
Okay.
but
Okay.
that's just me, you know.
Okay. All right. Now it's my turn. And everybody, like, remember what I'm saying. And if I have to eat crow later, I will.
Oh, you're a Triple G fan. I forgot.
Canelo came off a loss. Triple G just won very impressively. Now they're going to face each other again. They both have something to prove. And I am going to favor Triple G in this fight. And I believe by either, I'm going to say decision, even though it's very risky whenever he's fighting Canelo. I'm going to say decision. And like I said, I will
TKO was
eat
running in
crow.
your head, wasn't it?
I wanted to say late TKO. And I'm going to say it.
No, man.
Late
No, man.
TKO or decision. Yes.
Ooh.
Red's like, what?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know.
oh.
I don't know
Yes.
about that one.
I know Canelo's
Yes.
got a really good chin. Triple G's got a really good chin. I don't know. I think both can
Yeah.
take the other's thunder. I think it's going to go to
I'm
decision.
gonna go with Lee on this.
I mean, the Hispanic car. I mean, that Texas car. I'm like, oh, they're gonna run your back after this. Like, I'm a
Red
I'm
thinks
just
you're
saying.
nuts.
I know he thinks I'm nuts. And you know what? Like I said, if I'm wrong, I will eat crow. I will admit it. But I want everybody, whenever he does win, to go back to this and say,
So how do you take your crow?
She called
Well done.
medium
rare.
medium
Medium
rare.
rare. Yeah.
In the ring of Christine was right, y'all. She told us about
That's
12
right.
months ago.
Does
Yes,
crow taste like
absolutely.
chicken?
I don't know, but I may find out and I'll let you know.
She
We'll
will.
see.
She will find out.
Or maybe
yeah,
chicken
well,
tastes like crow. I don't know.
Christine, if you're right, I'm gonna give you 100.
Exactly.
Okay,
I gotta
okay,
pay you for that one too.
okay, all right, okay. That sounds good. All right, and then we've
It's on
got
record.
some. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Can't take it
Micah,
back
how do you,
now.
block
Oh,
this
we have
person?
a spam bot in the chat.
Yeah, I
Yes, we
just took them out.
do.
Okay, so
Anybody wants the low
everybody,
chief?
anybody lonely? No, I just blocked them.
Okay.
Last words. Where can we find y'all? What's going on? We'll start with my lady Nika.
Okay, so you can find me on Mccaskill with Nika. If you want to rewatch the verses that I had on Sunday, you're welcome
It
to
was
do
good.
so.
It was worth it.
Oh, and I want to wish Christine a happy birthday because her birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So maybe you should put your cash app in the chat. Maybe you guys can wish her a happy birthday. And also
Right.
I want to say something to Corey, Mr. I'm on that bullshit again because he's really in his feelings today, but it's not even with me, it's with Lady Chan. So I need him to take a chill pill because he was really going in and he has like this hate towards women. I don't know, in boxing now. You need to get over it, my guy. Just get over it.
Do not mess with Nika.
No.
Never.
People haven't learned. They have not learned.
They never learn.
They never
They
learn.
do
But
not
you know what?
learn. Oh my
I
gosh.
don't
I'm warning them.
Fools.
Absolutely.
So that's that.
Lee, last words. Where can people find you?
So where people can find me? Okay, on Twitter, I am at Lee Groves Boxing. You can find me also on Facebook. Just look up my name. My account has a picture of me with Roberto Duran on the day that he was inducted. Let's see. You could also find me on Fight.tv. We have a show called In This Corner, the podcast. James Smitty Smith is the host. I'm a panelist. And on Saturday's show, we will have Raul Marquez on as a guest. We've had a pretty good run of guests, and Smitty's the best in the business. I got to tell you that.
Awesome.
I also have 2 books out, Tales from the Vault and Muhammad Ali by the Numbers. You can get it on Amazon. And you can also find me on ringtv.com. I'm the Traveling Man. You can check out my 5-part series on the Trilogy Weekend. And finally, you could read my articles from time to time in Ring Magazine. I'm living the dream, man. I have for the last 15 years. I'm loving every minute of it.
Absolutely. Jamel, last words. Where can people find you and see what you're up to?
I'm everywhere. Not like no Instagram, Twitter. Simple, just Jamel Henry. I'm everywhere though, so I'm
And
trying to
you're
get out here.
funny. I've seen some of your TikToks. They're
Yeah,
pretty funny.
I mean bored, Christine. I mean bored. That's boredom. But no, I'm gonna start to get out here to see some of these fights, of course, amateur or professional. If it's especially these national tournaments, I want to get out here and support the kids again. But yeah, I'm everywhere.
That's awesome. We appreciate you so much. I thank you
All right,
so
appreciate it.
much, everybody that joined us tonight. All the chat, the panel. Thank you. We love to love you, and we'll see you next time. Everybody have a good night.
You have
Thank
a good
you.
night as well.
Good night.
Put the cup down, Nika.
I was drinking water tonight, sir.